Sharon, let's start off with what will you be talking about in your keynote session for us at the Love Tutoring Festival?
I want to talk about that bit where tutors are concerned, the massive overthink of the tutor, by the way, because one of the things I can guarantee you, if they are starting out in tutoring, they're overthinking everything. And one of the things that they are overthinking to the maximum is the business side of this, okay? Because many teachers go into tutoring and see it as an extension of what they are doing within the classroom. And it's not. First and foremost, they are setting up a business. They are setting up as a sole trader. The fact that their service is their subject that they were used to delivering at school, to me, is an irrelevance. They could be setting up a service, life coaching, selling vanilla slices. It doesn't matter. They're stepping out of the institution that was a school and going freelance. What they're going freelance in doesn't matter. They need to create an infrastructure of a business. And that's the bit that strikes fear and dread into the heart of the tutor. Oh, I know how a tutor. I know what I do there. That's easy. But then they build this world of pain around themselves. And I've broken it down into key areas. I struggled as a tutor, despite the fact I am brilliant at what I do, selling myself. I had shame attached to putting a price point upon what I did. And I would be stood in a home, a palatial palace in Cheshire, and be cringing at the thought of holding my hand out for £30 an hour.
Yes.
Cringing.
Yes.
Toes curling at the thought of actually taking cash or mentioning payments.
Yes.
And I talked about that as a pathological fear of selling myself.
Yes.
So I want to talk about how you can really circumnavigate those pain points with some nice slick systems, but also some mindset. Okay?
Well,
because the hand that held that £30 that she was giving me, and nails cost more than 30 quid. The diamante bling that she had on, the dog's collar cost more than 30 quid. And I had to reframe my value. And I was stood there in a house, moving her child up a set in English, cringing at the thought of putting £30 an hour on that. And that's what I want to talk about in the first instance. Do you agree? Do you think that?
I do. I love it. And I think you're really good at combining those two things, mindset and systems.
Correct.
Yeah. And you use systems to alleviate mindset. Once you understand what it is you're trying to achieve here, you don't have to put your hand out. You create a system so that the money's in your bank account before you knock on the door.
But the beauty of it is, if you've then applied that mindset to know your worth, that knock on the door is also very, very different. Because I used to stand there and she'd be like dragging I'm not talking about one person in particular. I'm using.
No, of course.
She's here. And I'd be twiddling my thumbs thinking, I'm 10 minutes into this now. And it starts the minute the kid sits down. No, it doesn't. The minute you know your worth, you've communicated as a tutor to the lady or the gentleman, my time starts the minute I arrive. You've got me for an hour. If you're going to spend 15 minutes of that hour organising and finding the books, it's not a problem at all. I'll carry on with my coffee, but I am getting up and out. And I want to talk about key messaging like that puts your worth at the fore of what you do. You are a tutor. You have got the keys to the kingdom here. And when you walk into a house or you pop up online or you are in a venue, do not act like the second-class citizen that you feel you are. And it's about knowing you. So first and foremost, the pathological fear of parting with money. Overthinking taxes and accountants. Because there is a fear of how do I do my books? What do I do? It's really quite simple. There are so many, and again, you've hit the nail on the head, Julia. It's about knowing what's out there. Do you know how many free pieces of software there are to just do your accounts really, really well? And if they're not free, they cost pennies. It used to be called Receipt Bank. It's now called Dext. It literally takes a photograph of your receipt and reconciles it in your bank account.
And the alleviation of the worry and the fear and the overthinking.
You are not going to jail if you muck your books up.
Oh, tell me that. Say it 3 times loudly.
Exactly. Nobody is going to come, and the income tax police are going to come onto your door and say, and it's like panicking about GDPR and all of these overthinks that go on in the first instance.
Yeah.
And I want to talk anecdotally.
Yes, please.
I obviously want to share my experiences of what's gone on, but more than anything, the importance of the mindset of removing fear. They've got through the fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
Because they're now freelance, and they realise that the work's coming in, and they realise that tuition now has suddenly got some real value and some skin in the political game. But what they now need to do is remove the fear of getting into trouble for doing something wrong.
Really?
I always love it when a tutor asks me, how many am I allowed in a group? You're allowed as many as you like, love, it's your own business. Yes. Right, okay. Yes. You can do whatever you want. It's a phenomenal service to be in. Yes. Because you capture the bits you loved and you make yourself your own boss. It is, isn't it? But what I also want to talk about is the things that I wish somebody had told me when I started.
Come on.
Time. Your time is your commodity.
Ah.
So don't be generous. Always be generous. Always be generous. But don't have your time wasted, because that really is the key to tuition. You are paid by the hour. Like when a solicitor charges you by the quarter of an hour. That's almost the mindset you need to get into as a tutor, because there's only so many hours in a day we can get our hands on children. Unless we are tutors in the day, doing intervention in schools, working with the National Tutoring Programme. The main thing that tutors actually have is that after school slot. And there are only so many minutes in that after school slot until children need to be in bed. So if Doreen's got you pinned at the door telling you how she wants to leave her husband, but she's not got the courage, fine. Tell me in your own time, Doreen. I'm on the clock. And that's the kind of thing we need to position ourselves as tutors, where we start to value ourselves and what we are offering. And therefore, if it is valuable, don't have your time wasted.
Fabulous.
It's that kind of thing. I also want to open the floor up to people to ask questions and answers. One of the things I'd like to have is tutors who have got it sussed. And this is the kind of person I want to talk to. I filled my hours within weeks. Yeah, you will do as a tutor. I am now knocking customers back, and it's painful. A waiting list, if you cannot accommodate them, is vanity that's serving nobody. So if you found yourself where you are in demand, where you are rammed, packed, can't do anything, let's look at scale. Let's look at your current situation and how you can scale, how you can move from the idea of being an owner-operator, a one-man band, to let's throw some ideas about how you can actually keep those children and what you can do in terms of grouping. And great, well, I couldn't have somebody work alongside me because I'd have to employ them. No, you don't. You can have somebody on a service level agreement. It's not difficult. So how we get started, how we use our pathological fear, but then how we move from being a victim of our own successes to scaling.
Fabulous.
So I want to share some anecdotes. I want to talk about the joy. I want to talk about the get over yourselves, and then open the floor up for people to pick my brains.